Hey everyone, and welcome back to Senior Care Insights. Today we're going to be tackling a topic that I think a lot of us think about and maybe worry about a little bit as we get older. How to stay strong and active. It's really easy to just assume that stiffness and fatigue and just generally slowing down are inevitable as we age.
Yeah, it's a really common assumption, but the exciting thing is it might be more about our habits than just age itself.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So are we saying that even if you're feeling a bit, rusty, it's not necessarily a downhill slide from here?
Exactly. Think of it this way. Our bodies are designed to move. They crave it. It's when we stop moving regularly that things start to go downhill faster. Like use it or lose it.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not like our bodies just suddenly decide at a certain age to just quit. It's more like maybe we're kind of sending the wrong signals.
Exactly. And those signals are often about inactivity. Imagine a car that sits in a garage for months. The battery dies. The engine gets sluggish. Our bodies can be a bit like that.
So if we're not giving our bodies the movement they need, they're basically going into like hibernation mode.
In a way, yes. And that's when the stiffness, fatigue, decreased mobility starts to creep in. It's not necessarily just age itself. It's the lack of regular movement that sets off kind of a chain reaction.
That's actually really encouraging to hear. So are we talking about intense workouts here? Because I know plenty of people would say, oh, I'm too old for that.
Not at all. Even small, consistent movements can make a huge difference. Think about someone like Barbara. She was 72 when she started feeling like her mobility was declining. She was worried about losing her independence, and she started by just shuffling around her kitchen for 5 minutes a day.
5 minutes? That doesn't sound like much.
It wasn't, but it was enough to get her body moving again. And gradually, those short walks around her kitchen turned into longer walks in the park and even, playing with her grandkids.
So it's more about kind of building that habit of movement, whatever that looks like for you, rather than forcing yourself into something you hate.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to make movement enjoyable and sustainable because consistency is key.
That's a good reminder, really, for all of us, no matter what age. Okay, so we've talked about how movement can kind of combat the decline we often associate with getting older. But what about fatigue? I think a lot of people just kind of accept that feeling tired all the time is just part of getting older. Is there a connection there?
There absolutely is. And what's interesting is fatigue isn't always directly linked to age. It's often a symptom of other things going on, like poor sleep habits, not moving enough, and even dehydration.
So if you're constantly hitting that afternoon slump, it might not be your age, it might be something else entirely.
Exactly. And the good news is those are all things we can address. Let's start with sleep. Did you know that poor sleep can sap up to 30% of your energy?
Wow, that's a lot. But honestly, I think a lot of us struggle with sleep as we get older. What's happening there?
Well, sleep isn't just about resting. It's about our bodies repairing and rebuilding themselves. It's when our muscles get stronger, our energy's restored, even our brains get a tune-up.
So if we're skimping on sleep, we're basically shortchanging our body's natural repair process.
You got it. And that can lead to feeling drained and foggy-headed and even more achy. It's like trying to run a car without ever changing the oil. Eventually, it's going to break down.
Okay, that's a pretty vivid image. So how can we improve our sleep as we age?
Well, one of the most effective things you can do is establish a consistent sleep schedule. That means going to bed and waking up around the same time each day, even on weekends.
Easier said than done, right?
It can be. But, think of it as training your body's internal clock. Consistency helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle, which makes it easier to fall asleep and wake up feeling refreshed.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. So better sleep can lead to more energy, which can make us want to move more, which in turn can help us sleep better. It's like a positive feedback loop.
You're exactly right. It all starts to connect. And remember Barbara. Once she started prioritizing sleep, she noticed a huge difference in her energy levels. She went from dragging herself through the day to actually waking up excited for what the day would bring.
That's quite a transformation. And I'm guessing getting enough sleep wasn't the only change she made.
You're right. We've talked about movement and sleep, but there's another piece of the puzzle that often gets overlooked: hydration.
Hydration, you mean just drinking enough water?
It sounds simple, but it's crucial, especially as we age. Many people don't realize that our sense of thirst can decline with age, so we might not even realize we're dehydrated.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that. So we could be walking around feeling tired and sluggish and not even realize it's because we're not drinking enough.
Exactly. And dehydration can manifest in so many ways: fatigue, headaches, muscle cramps, even difficulty concentrating, it's amazing how much of an impact it can have.
So how much water should we be drinking each day?
Well, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but a good rule of thumb is to aim for half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you'd aim for about 75 ounces of water a day.
Okay, that's a helpful guideline.
Sure.
And I'm guessing Barbara incorporated this into her routine as well.
She did, and she was surprised by how much of a difference it made. She said she felt more alert, she had more energy, and even noticed that her skin looked healthier.
So it's not just about quenching our thirst, it's about supporting our body's overall function.
Exactly. Water is essential for every single process in our bodies, from digestion and circulation to temperature regulation and waste removal. It's like the lifeblood of our system.
Okay, that's a pretty compelling case for upping our water intake.
Ugh.
So we've talked about movement and sleep and hydration, all things that can make a big difference in how we feel as we get older.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating how these seemingly simple habits can have such a profound impact on our well-being. It's not about complicated formulas or expensive treatments. It's about going back to the basics and giving our bodies what they need to thrive.
I love that. It's a reminder that we have more control than we might think. And sometimes the simplest solutions are the most powerful.
You said it, but there's more to uncover. Have you ever noticed how the longer you sit, the harder it gets to stand back up?
Oh, definitely. And it seems like that gets even more pronounced as we get older. Why is that?
Well, our bodies weren't designed for prolonged sitting. Think about it. Our ancestors were constantly on the move. But in our modern world, we spend hours each day sitting at desks, in cars, on couches.
It's true. I'm guilty of it myself. But what's so bad about sitting for long periods?
Well, it slows down our circulation, it weakens our muscles, it stiffens our joints. It's like our bodies slowly start to seize up. And the scary part is, we might not even realize it's happening until it starts to impact our daily lives.
Like struggling to get out of a chair or feeling winded after climbing a few stairs.
Exactly. And it's not just anecdotal. Research shows that prolonged sitting is linked to a whole host of health problems, from heart disease and diabetes to obesity, and even some types of cancer.
Wow, that's serious. But if our lives require a lot of sitting, what can we do to counteract those negative effects?
The good news is, even small changes can make a big difference. One of the simplest things you can do is stand up every hour and move around for a few minutes.
Okay, that's doable. Any other tips?
Absolutely. Think about incorporating more walking into your daily routine. Park farther away from the store. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Even just pace around the house while you're on the phone.
I like those. It's about finding those little opportunities to sneak in some movement.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be strenuous. Even light stretching can help improve circulation and flexibility.
So it's about making movement a natural part of our day rather than something we have to schedule in.
You've got it. And remember Barbara, she started incorporating these simple movements into her life, parking farther away, taking the stairs, doing some gentle stretches, and she found that it made a huge difference in how she felt. She felt more energized, her joints felt less stiff, and she was able to move with more ease and confidence.
That's inspiring. It shows that you don't have to become a marathon runner to reap the benefits of movement.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about physical health, it's about maintaining independence. The stronger and more mobile we are, the more easily we can do the things we love and live our lives to the fullest.
That's a great point. It's about preserving our freedom to move through the world with ease and joy. Okay, we've covered movement, sleep, hydration, and the importance of minimizing prolonged sitting. Are there any other lifestyle factors that play a role in how we age?
There's one that's absolutely crucial and often overlooked: sunlight.
Sunlight? Really? I thought we were supposed to be avoiding the sun to protect our skin.
That's a common misconception. While it's true that too much sun can be harmful, moderate sun exposure is actually incredibly beneficial for our health, especially as we age.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, most people know that sunlight helps our bodies produce vitamin D, which is essential for strong bones. But did you know that vitamin D also plays a role in muscle function, immune health, and even mood regulation?
Wow, I had no idea. It was so multifaceted. So we're talking about more than just strong bones here.
Exactly. Vitamin D is like a multivitamin for our entire system. And as we age, our ability to produce it naturally declines.
Oh, that's not good. So if we're not getting enough sunlight, we're missing out on this key nutrient that our bodies need to function optimally.
Precisely. And that can lead to all sorts of problems, from weakened bones and increased risk of falls to muscle weakness, fatigue, and even mood changes.
So how much sunlight do we need to reap these benefits?
Aiming for 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure per day is a good starting point. And morning sun is best because it helps regulate our sleep cycle by suppressing melatonin production.
Wait, so getting sunlight in the morning can actually help us sleep better at night?
Exactly. It's all about syncing our internal clock with the natural rhythms of the day.
That's fascinating. So we can soak up some rays while enjoying our morning coffee and set ourselves up for better sleep later on.
Precisely. And don't worry about protecting your skin. Just a few minutes without sunscreen won't hurt, and you can always cover up or apply sunscreen if you'll be out longer.
Got it. So moderate sun exposure, another simple yet powerful tool in our Aging Well toolkit.
Exactly. And remember Barbara, she started incorporating a short morning walk into her routine, which gave her that daily dose of sunshine. She noticed her mood lifted, her joints felt less stiff, and she even started sleeping better.
Sounds like she really embraced those small changes and saw some pretty amazing results. So we've covered movement, sleep, hydration, the importance of minimizing prolonged sitting, and now sunlight. What else is crucial for staying strong and active as we age?
Well, there's one area that's absolutely essential for maintaining independence: leg strength.
Leg strength, that makes sense. Our legs are our foundation, literally.
Exactly. They carry us through life, and as we age, their strength becomes even more important. Think about it. Our legs allow us to stand, walk, climb stairs, get in and out of chairs. They're involved in almost every activity we do.
So if our legs weaken, those everyday tasks become more challenging, which can lead to a loss of independence. And that can have a ripple effect on everything else in our lives, right?
Absolutely. It can impact our social lives, our mental health, and even our overall sense of well-being. Maintaining leg strength is about so much more than just physical ability. It's about preserving our freedom and quality of life.
That's a powerful reminder. But I have to admit, when I think of leg strength, I picture like intense gym workouts, which might not be feasible for everyone.
I hear you. But here's the good news. You don't need to be a bodybuilder to strengthen your legs. Simple bodyweight exercises can be incredibly effective.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Well, chair squats are a fantastic option. You simply sit down in a chair and then stand up again without using your hands.
That sounds easy enough, but I bet it works those muscles.
It does, and you can adjust the intensity by how quickly you stand up. Another great exercise is leg lifts. While sitting, you extend one leg straight out, hold it for a few seconds, and then lower it. Repeat on the other side.
Okay, so we're working those thigh muscles, which are important for.
Balance. Strong thighs help stabilize us and prevent falls.
And falls can be especially dangerous as we age. Any other leg strengthening exercises we should know about?
Heel raises are a great one for targeting the calf muscles. You hold onto a sturdy surface, rise up onto your toes, and then slowly lower back down.
Got it. So we've got chair squats for overall leg strength, leg lifts for the thighs and balance, and heel raises for the calves.
Exactly. And remember, consistency is key. Even doing a few repetitions of each exercise daily can make a big difference over time.
So it's about building those habits, just like we talked about with movement in general.
You're getting it. It's not about punishing workouts. It's about incorporating these strength-building movements into our daily lives, just like Barbara did. She started with a few minutes each day, and now she moves with confidence, knowing that her legs are strong and capable of carrying her wherever she wants to go.
I love that. It's a reminder that we have the power to shape our own aging experience. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. Movement, sleep, hydration, minimizing sitting, getting enough sunlight, and building leg strength. It's clear that aging actively is a holistic endeavor, and there are so many things we can do to support our bodies and minds as we age. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious, are there any practices that address both the physical and mental aspects of aging well?
That's a great question. And you know what? There are. Two practices come to mind that are surprisingly accessible and beneficial for people of all ages and fitness levels: yoga and Tai Chi.
Yoga and Tai Chi, those are for older adults.
Absolutely. And they're fantastic for promoting both physical and mental well-being.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, let's start with the physical benefits. Both yoga and Tai Chi involve slow, controlled movements and deep breathing, which can improve balance, coordination, flexibility, and strength.
Those are all essential for maintaining independence as we age.
Exactly. And they can also help reduce the risk of falls, which we know is a major concern for seniors.
So how do these practices address the mental aspects of aging?
Both yoga and Tai Chi emphasize mindfulness and present moment awareness. They encourage you to focus on your breath, your body, and your movements, which can help quiet the mind and reduce stress and anxiety.
That sounds so peaceful. I can already feel my stress levels decreasing just thinking about it.
It's amazing how calming these practices can be. And they can also help improve sleep quality, which we already talked about being so essential for overall health and well-being.
So it's like a two-for-one deal. You're getting physical and mental benefits from the same practice. What was Barbara's experience with yoga and Tai Chi?
Well, she had never tried either practice before, but she was experiencing some stiffness and tension in her body, and she was also feeling stressed and anxious about the future. She decided to give yoga and Tai Chi a try. She was amazed by how much better she felt, both physically and mentally. The yoga helped her release tension in her muscles and improve her flexibility, and the Tai Chi helped her feel more balanced and coordinated.
That's fantastic. And what about the mental benefits?
She found that both practices helped her quiet her mind and find a sense of peace and calm that she hadn't felt in years. She started sleeping better, her anxiety decreased, and she felt more present and grounded in her daily life.
Wow, it sounds like yoga and Tai Chi were real game changers for her.
They really were, and the best part is they're accessible to almost everyone.
So you don't need to be super flexible or athletic to give these practices a try.
Not at all. There are modifications for every pose and movement, and the focus is always on moving mindfully and listening to your body.
That's reassuring. So what's the best way to get started with yoga and Tai Chi?
You can find classes online or in your local community, but you can also start practicing at home with simple movements and stretches. The key is to start slowly and gradually increase the duration and intensity of your practice as you feel comfortable.
And remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's to move, breathe, and feel good.
Exactly. It's about honoring your body and finding joy in movement.
This has been so insightful. I feel like we've really unpacked some key ideas about aging actively, but I know we have more to discuss, right?
We do. We've laid a great foundation, and in the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore even more tips and strategies for maintaining strength, balance, and vitality as we age. And of course, we'll continue to hear about Barbara's inspiring journey.
I can't wait. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It's great to continue this conversation about, really taking charge of how we age.
I agree. We've covered so much already, like movement, sleep, hydration, sunlight, leg strength, even the benefits of practices like yoga and Tai Chi. I feel like I'm already getting a clearer picture of what it means to age actively.
It is a multifaceted approach, isn't it? And, it's not about denying the aging process, but rather about understanding how we can support our bodies and minds to thrive throughout each stage of life.
Exactly. And speaking of thriving, I'm curious to hear more about how Barbara's story kind of unfolded. She started with those small changes, shuffling around her kitchen, getting more sunlight, prioritizing sleep. What happened next?
Well, once Barbara started feeling more energized and mobile, she started to believe that maybe, just maybe, she could regain even more of her strength and independence. And that shift in mindset was incredibly powerful.
So it wasn't just about the physical changes she was making, it was about her belief in herself.
Precisely. It was as if those initial successes gave her a glimpse of what was possible, and that ignited a spark within her. She started to see her age not as a limitation, but as a starting point for a new chapter of her life.
That's so inspiring. It's like those small steps she took helped her build momentum, both physically and mentally.
Exactly. And that momentum propelled her forward. She started exploring new activities, like joining a senior dance class and even signing up for a Tai Chi workshop at the local community center. Things she never would have considered before.
Wow, that's amazing. It really shows how a positive mindset can open up new possibilities. It's like she was reclaiming her agency and deciding how she wanted to age, rather than just accepting a narrative of decline.
You're spot on. And as she continued to challenge herself, she continued to see those positive results. Her balance improved, her strength increased, and her confidence just soared.
It sounds like a real virtuous cycle. Success breeds more success.
It does. And it's not just Barbara. Research has shown that having a positive attitude towards aging can lead to better physical and mental health outcomes.
That's fascinating. So our beliefs about aging can actually influence how we age.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that we're not just passive passengers on this journey. Our thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes play a significant role in shaping our experience.
I love that. It means we have more control than we might think. So if we're feeling kind of stuck in a negative mindset about aging, what can we do to shift our perspective?
Well, awareness is the first step. Notice those negative self-talk patterns. Thoughts like, oh, I'm too old for this, or it's too late to change.
We all have those thoughts from time to time, don't we?
We do, but we don't have to let them dictate our actions. Challenge them with positive affirmations. Remind yourself of your strengths, your resilience, and your capacity for growth.
So it's about reframing those internal narratives. Instead of saying, I'm too old, we could say, I'm still learning and growing, or I'm excited to see what this next chapter holds.
Exactly. And gratitude can be a powerful tool as well. Take some time each day to appreciate the things you're grateful for, your health, your loved ones, the simple pleasures of life.
Gratitude has such a transformative effect. It really helps us focus on the good instead of dwelling on the negative.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of connection. Surround yourself with positive, supportive people who uplift and inspire you.
That's so important, especially as we age. Our social circles can have a huge impact on our well-being.
They really can. And finally, never stop learning and growing. Engage in activities that challenge your mind, explore new hobbies, or pursue passions you've always had.
So keep that brain active and those creative juices flowing. I love this idea of reframing aging as a time of continued growth and exploration.
It's a beautiful perspective, isn't it? Aging doesn't have to be about decline. It can be about discovery, about deepening our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
It's like we're not just getting older, we're evolving and becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly, and that's something worth celebrating. Now, shifting gears a bit, I want to talk about another aspect of aging actively that often gets overlooked: balance.
Balance. That's something we probably take for granted until we start to lose it.
Yeah.
Why is balance so important as we age?
Well, it's fundamental to our mobility and independence. Good balance helps us walk steadily, navigate uneven terrain, and prevent falls, which, as we know, can have serious consequences as we get older.
So it's not just about being able to, stand on one leg. It's about maintaining our ability to move through the world safely and confidently.
Exactly. And the good news is, balance is a skill that can be improved with practice. Remember those Tai Chi and yoga classes Barbara started taking? Well, they played a huge role in boosting her balance.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Both practices involve those slow, controlled movements and a lot of focus on body awareness.
Precisely. And they're not the only ways to improve balance. There are simple exercises you can do at home, like standing on one leg for a few seconds at a time, walking heel to toe, or even just practicing standing up from a chair without using your hands.
Those sound doable. So we can incorporate balance training into our daily routines without having to join a gym or buy any special equipment.
Exactly. And here's a little tip. Engaging your core muscles while you're doing these exercises can make them even more effective.
Engaging our core. How do we do that?
Imagine you're trying to pull your belly button in towards your spine. That activates your core muscles, which helps stabilize your body and improve your balance.
Okay, I can feel that. So we're essentially working on our balance and strengthening our core at the same time. 2 birds, 1 stone.
You got it. And remember, consistency is key. Even a few minutes of balance exercises each day can make a big difference over time.
I'm starting to see a theme here. It's those small, consistent actions done over time that really add up.
You're absolutely right. It's not about making drastic changes or trying to turn back the clock. It's about embracing the aging process and finding ways to support our bodies and minds to thrive at every age.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it takes the pressure off, doesn't it? It's not about striving for some unattainable ideal of youthfulness, but rather about celebrating where we are and making choices that support our well-being.
I couldn't agree more. It's about finding joy in movement, in connection, in learning, and embracing all the wisdom and experience that comes with age.
This has been so inspiring. I feel like I'm walking away with a whole new perspective on aging actively. And I know we have even more to cover, right?
We do. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll delve into the importance of nutrition, explore strategies for managing stress, and hear about how Barbara incorporated these elements into her own journey of aging well.
I can't wait to hear more. Stay tuned, everyone, for the final part of our deep dive into aging actively. Welcome back. We're diving into the final part of our conversation about aging actively and gracefully.
I'm so excited to continue this exploration. We've covered so much already, from the power of movement and sleep to the importance of sunlight, leg strength, balance, and even cultivating a positive mindset.
It's been a real eye-opener, honestly, for me. And I'm sure for our listeners as well. So what other aspects of, aging well should we be thinking about?
Well, we can't talk about aging well without discussing nutrition. What we eat plays a huge role in how we feel, how our bodies function, and how we age.
That makes sense. But, I think there's a lot of confusing information out there about what we should and shouldn't be eating, as we get older.
There is, and it can be overwhelming. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be complicated. The basic principles of healthy eating really remain the same throughout our lives.
So we're talking about focusing on whole, Unprocessed foods like fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains.
Exactly. These foods provide our bodies with the nutrients they need to function optimally, repair damage, and maintain energy levels. And as we age, it becomes even more important to prioritize nutrient-dense foods.
Why is that?
Well, our metabolism naturally slows down as we get older, and we may experience changes in our digestive system that can affect nutrient absorption. So it's really crucial to make sure that we're getting the most bang for our nutritional buck, so to speak.
That makes sense. So quality over quantity becomes even more important.
You got it. And there are certain nutrients that become especially important as we age.
Like what?
Well, protein is crucial for maintaining muscle mass and strength, which, as we've already discussed, is so essential for mobility and independence.
So we need to make sure we're getting enough protein in our diets.
Absolutely. Good sources include lean meats, poultry, fish, beans, lentils, tofu. Calcium and vitamin D are also essential for bone health, which is especially important for preventing osteoporosis and fractures.
And we already talked about how sunlight helps our bodies produce vitamin D. What about good sources of calcium?
Dairy products are a great source, but if you're lactose intolerant or prefer plant-based options, there are plenty of other choices, like leafy green vegetables, almonds, and fortified plant milks.
Okay, so protein for muscle mass, calcium, and vitamin D for strong bones. Anything else we should be paying attention to?
Omega-3 fatty acids are incredibly beneficial for brain health, heart health, and reducing inflammation.
Where can we find those?
Fatty fish like salmon, tuna, and mackerel are excellent sources, as are flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts.
Okay, those are all great additions to our grocery list. So it's really about focusing on those nutrient-rich foods that support our overall well-being.
Exactly. And remember, Barbara, she started paying closer attention to her nutrition, incorporating more fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins into her meals. And she noticed a huge difference in her energy levels, her digestion, even her mood.
It sounds like she was really nourishing her body from the inside out.
She was. And it's a reminder that food can be medicine. What we choose to put into our bodies can either support our health and vitality or contribute to disease and decline.
That's a powerful way to think about it. So we've covered movement, sleep, sunlight, leg strength, balance, a positive mindset, and now nutrition. Are there any other key pieces to this aging actively puzzle?
There's one more element that is crucial for well-being at any age, but especially as we get older: managing stress.
Stress. I think we all kind of know that stress isn't good for us, but how does it specifically impact aging?
Well, chronic stress can wreak havoc on our bodies. It can weaken our immune system, increase inflammation, accelerate cognitive decline, disrupt our sleep, even contribute to heart disease. It's like this slow poison.
Yeah. Wow, that's scary. But stress is kind of a part of life, right? How could we possibly avoid it?
You're right. We can't eliminate stress entirely, but we can learn to manage it more effectively. And there are a number of strategies that can help.
Like what?
Well, exercise is a fantastic stress reliever. It releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects, and it helps to clear your head and shift your focus away from your worries.
So that daily walk isn't just good for our physical health, it's a mental health booster as well.
Exactly. And, spending time in nature can be incredibly calming and grounding. Even just a few minutes in a park or a garden can help reduce stress hormones and promote feelings of peace and tranquility.
I can attest to that. Nature has a way of putting things in perspective.
It does. And practices like yoga, meditation, deep breathing can be incredibly effective for managing stress. They help to slow down the heart rate, calm the nervous system, and bring a sense of stillness and presence to the mind.
So we're talking about finding tools that help us regulate our nervous system and quiet that fight or flight response.
Precisely. And those tools can be different for everyone. Some people find solace in listening to music, while others find joy in creative pursuits like painting or gardening. The key is to find what works for you and make it a regular part of your routine.
It's about having those self-care practices in place that help us navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life.
You said it. And remember Barbara, she incorporated yoga and meditation into her routine, and she found that it made a huge difference in her ability to manage stress. She said she felt calmer, more centered, and more resilient in the face of challenges.
That's amazing. It really shows that we don't have to be victims of our circumstances. We can equip ourselves with tools that empower us to respond to stress in healthier ways.
Absolutely. And those tools become even more valuable as we navigate the unique challenges that come with aging.
This has been such an insightful conversation. We've covered so much ground movement, sleep, sunlight, leg strength, balance, a positive mindset, nutrition, and managing stress. It's clear that aging actively is a holistic endeavor, and it's so empowering to know that we have so much control over how we experience this journey.
I couldn't agree more. It's not about denying the aging process, but rather about embracing it with wisdom, grace, and a commitment to well-being.
And it's never too late to start. Even small changes, made consistently over time, can have a profound impact on our health and vitality as we age.
Absolutely. It's about taking those first steps, celebrating those small victories, and trusting that our bodies and minds are capable of incredible things.
This has been so inspiring. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on aging actively and gracefully.
Me too. And I hope our listeners have as well.
I'm sure they have. And if you're watching this and feeling inspired, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and share it with someone who might benefit from it. Let's spread the message that aging can be a time of vitality, growth, and joy.
Absolutely. We all have the power to age well and live our lives to the fullest. It all starts with taking that first step.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in our next deep dive. Until then, take care and keep moving.